I'm going to be weird and wacky and wild. WWW.
I don't know.
Bye.
JD. Jonathan Decker. Get it.
And this is why we're not part of an improv club. Mended Light. If we were doing Family Feud and the category was warnings that Alicia has given Jonathan throughout their time together, number one on the survey would be...
Stop setting yourself up for failure.
Stop setting yourself up for failure.
That's such a loving thing to say to your spouse, don't you think? Well, I think it is.
It comes from a loving place.
That's why I tell you it.
Well, you want me to achieve my goals and you want to see me succeed.
Yeah.
And my issue, but really everybody's issue, is we create goals for ourselves that don't serve us. We create goals for ourselves that sound really good and that get us really excited. But they're not things that we actually follow through with. New Year's resolutions is a classic example of this. And then we feel like we're losers, or we feel defeated, or we feel discouraged, right? Because we're not setting our goals properly. So
some of the things that you can do unintentionally to set yourself up for failure is do things out of obligation. Of like, oh, I should do this, or I should want to do this. But it's not actually something you want to do.
Right.
Like, I would never set a goal to do running of any kind, ever. I do not like running. It's not my idea of a good time. But if I'm like, oh, I need to be fit. My blood pressure's too high. I don't know. And the solution was
on
running.
Social media, here's my friend who just ran a marathon. Look how happy she looks, right?
I would never be happy. So doing something out of a sense of obligation, or because you think you should do it.
Yeah. Also doing something because somebody that you care about did it. Like,
a friend, a family, a loved one. You're like, look, they did this thing. It worked really well for them.
Yeah. But is it something that I actually want to do? And also setting goals with an all or nothing mindset, right? The classic closer phrase, go big or go home, right? That we're not going to do things small. We're not going to do things half-assed. We're really going to go for it. And that we're going to take leaps, not steps, right? Because we want to feel bold and powerful. And then what ends up happening is you go too big.
Yeah.
And you can't manage it.
Or if you're trying to get something accomplished, relying entirely on motivation. Motivation is a fair weather friend. It is not your BFF. It is not your ride or die. It is not always going to be there for you.
Yeah, well, and how often do it's like, I need to do this, but first I need to get motivated. And we try and do things to get ourselves motivated. And I don't know about you. For me, it's getting up early to go to the gym. And I'm super motivated at 3 p.m. I'm like, oh man, I'm going
to go to bed early tonight. I'm going to get up early.
And then the kids go to bed. We're watching a show. We've got our ice cream. We're snuggling. Suddenly it's 1 a.m. What happened? And when
ice cream and the movies are calling.
And then when the alarm goes off early in the morning, I'm not super motivated. So we can't rely on motivation. And then we get too rigid. Like, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. And I just need to rely on willpower to make it happen. And then if my willpower or my motivation aren't enough, then again, I feel like, well, I'm the problem because I'm weak.
Well, and if you feel like quitting.
Yeah.
And you start to feel like you're a failure.
Yeah.
Right? Because of that rigidity and the expectations that you set up for yourself of this is what this needs to look like. So those are some of the pitfalls.
What are the solutions?
Yeah.
We don't know. That's why we're here asking you. Help us out.
I hope you have some good comments.
So some solutions. First thing is start with things that you already want to do.
Yeah. So we actually read this really fun book. And by fun, it was genuinely fun. It was very thinker heavy. And so we did a podcast on it in our membership site. It's called Tiny Habits. And in there, he has these like statements that he lives by, or maxims. And his number one thing is help yourself do what you already want to do. Yeah. Right? Like, start with the things that excite you and you're passionate about. Not I feel like I want to lose 10 pounds, so now I'm going to make a goal to go to the gym for an hour, 6 days a week. Right.
Well, and that's what most personal trainers would tell you. When you say, I want to get fit, I want to get into an exercise program, their first question is going to be, what is enjoyable for you.
Yeah.
Right? Some people, they don't like running, but they do like running after a ball or with a team, right? Where they're moving around.
I'll do that kind of running.
Yeah. But for you, fitness, you do what you enjoy doing.
Right, for sure.
Which is yoga and Pilates and...
Yeah, well, and wakeboarding and snowboarding. Like, I like to do active things. I do not like going to a gym. And, like, you will not find me in a gym.
No.
That is not my form of working out.
But I love that, right? So you start with something that you want to do, something that you enjoy.
Yeah. And then from there, you start ridiculously small. In the book, the story of the author is how he had a challenge flossing his teeth. And that sounds kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to get into the details. But I totally relate to him. Okay. And he is like, I started with flossing one tooth.
Yeah.
One tooth. And then I would celebrate.
Yeah. And even if he didn't do the rest of his teeth, he would be like, I did it. And a similar thing with he wanted to get in shape. And you would think, well, it doesn't matter. Like, unless you're flossing all your teeth, that's a crap goal. It's not. Because what drives the habit, again, since motivation ebbs and flows, is the emotion. Emotion drives habit. The emotion of celebration. The emotion of I accomplished it. The emotion of I did it. Right? And when you start small, you can do that consistently and build up that momentum, right?
Trade that motivation for momentum.
He also did 3 push-ups at a time. Was it 2 push-ups? Yeah. He would just do 2 push-ups. Again, you think 2 push-ups, you're not going to get in shape. And that's true. But what you will do...
But you don't stop at the 2 push-ups.
Right.
And you don't stop at the 1 tooth for forever.
But
day you might.
But you level up in time. But what you're doing is just building momentum of, I'm somebody who achieves my goals. I'm somebody who follows through. Instead of when you have these big goals and you don't follow through, the mindset is I'm somebody who doesn't follow through.
It goes back to that all or nothing mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And then on a lot of days you're like, okay, let's see what else I can do and I can level up.
Right.
And he talks about pairing these tiny habits with things that you're already doing, right? Because if you break routine too much, you'll just slide back into your old ways of doing things. So he says, for example, I would do 2 push-ups after going pee. Because going pee is something that I will do.
Yeah. So that's the prompt.
Yeah.
So if you tie your new habit that you want to create to a prompt that you know matches up. Like, so if you're wanting to do push-ups 4 times a day, you're like, okay, well, what's something I know I'm already going to do no matter what 4 times a day?
Yeah.
Right?
And it's important to be curious and compassionate instead of harsh and judgmental with yourself. And also you want to count on trial and error. Like, for whatever reason, we kind of get into this, I'm going to set these goals and I'm going to accomplish them. Instead of, I'm going to set these goals and I'm probably not going to do it as much as I think I will, or I'm probably going to stumble, or I'm probably going to fall out of the routine. And instead of counting on that, we feel like a failure when it happens. But if we count on it, it's like, okay, when that happens, I'm going to say, why didn't I get that done today?
Yeah.
What was the obstacle, and what's my strategy for dealing with that obstacle?
Yeah.
Right?
And there's, to be successful at creating new habits and new goals, there is a curiosity component that is very, very important. Of like, what's working for me? What's not working for me? Why is it working for me? Why is it not working for me? And instead of meeting that with frustration, that things didn't turn out as you expected, meeting it with curiosity, and then following that curiosity up with compassion, right?
Yeah.
And loving and supporting yourself for where you're at, because judgment is the antithesis of growth.
Yeah.
And presumably we're setting goals and we're creating habits because we want to grow. But if we're stuck in a place of judgment, we cannot grow from that place.
Right.
It's actually stops the growth in our brain, like neurologically speaking, right?
Yeah.
And so when we can be curious about ourselves and our needs, and then we can be compassionate, that actually is like supercharging our ability to grow and supporting ourselves.
Yeah. Change your relationship with failure. Failure is such a negative word, right? But failure is just, I wanted to do this, I didn't do it, and that's just information, right? So it's just all part of the process of, why didn't this work? How am I going to strategize and make changes and adjustments so that it will work in the future?
Well, and I would love to introduce an idea to you that failure is only failure if you don't learn something.
Right.
Once you learn from it, failure is now a success.
Right.
And so whether or not you quote unquote fail is entirely up to you, because there's always something to learn from it.
I love that.
Lastly, this is so important. Abandon the idea or the thought that it takes a certain number of days to create a habit.
I have heard this.
It is completely untrue.
If you do something for 21 days, you will have developed a habit.
30 days.
Yeah, 30 days.
Well, 21.
I've heard it both ways.
Mr. Paget. It's pronounced Paget. I've heard it both ways.
30,
But there's
28.
some magic number.
Yeah, there's not. There's no magic number.
And the reason for that is, it's true. You may develop a pattern, but how many things have you done consistently and you did it for 30 days or more, and then at some point you fell off and just stopped doing it? I think we all have.
Yeah. So when it comes to setting goals, I like to use this thought process of evaluation. Is this sustainable? When it comes to my time, like time-wise, is this sustainable? Can I keep doing it? When it comes to money, is this sustainable? Can I keep doing it? When it comes to my ability, right? And so often when I say to you, you're setting yourself up for failure, I know with like all the other pieces in your life, it's like there's no
way you're going to do this. You got too much going on.
Yeah, like that's taking too big of a piece of this resource, whether it's time or money or energy or mental effort. And so rework it in a different way, pare it down so that you can be successful. And when it's sustainable, you have the ability to be successful.
Yeah. So this is at least the beginning of how to create habits that you will actually accomplish instead of habits that are self-defeating.
Yeah. Because you love yourself and you want to support yourself.
Speaking of goals that we often don't accomplish, traditional therapy. Well, and this is something that I learned in my education and in my training, is helping people to set goals and follow through with them. And a lot of times we set goals in therapy that we don't follow through with, and traditional therapy fails us. I want to talk about how to succeed in counseling and in your growth. In fact, when I say I want to, I did. I address in a video why traditional therapy is failing, and what we're doing here at Mended Light to help you to become the person you want to become, to support you in that. So check out that video right here or here somewhere. You'll see it on screen. We have no idea where it's going to be though, but click on it. When have you been successful in setting and following through with a goal? What did you do? What were your strategies? When have you not been successful? What do you feel like you failed to do? Let us know in the comments below, because we'd love to learn from you.
And until next time, remember to keep shining. We need your light.